Just seems like a dicey proposition for a goalie to take on that role. Is it taboo for skaters and coaches to call out goalies? Isn't the reverse true? Should Doobie be put in a position where he might have to call out coaches or skaters?
I think I understand what he's saying, and you're right. I mean, if it's a great point, because if all of a sudden last night Zach Parise or Eric Stahl or Ryan Suter or somebody said, it'd be nice if we get a freaking save.
Yep.
We'd all be like, whoop. I mean, it would explode. But Doobie could sit there and basically rip the play in front of him. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And you're right; it probably rubs players the wrong way. Bruce doesn't pull punches with his goalie. I don't think there's a lot of love there.
Between who and who?
Probably Doobie with Bruce. I think that he feels like these should be his game till the end, and Bruce is trying to win games right now, and sometimes has to make the tough decision. I'll be interested to see who's starting tonight, because usually if you're going to pull the starter in the front end of a back-to-back, it means you're coming back with him the next night. So we'll see if that changes tonight. Sometimes you might need to challenge this guy and say, and it's not like Stalock's been great lately. Let's be honest.
No.
So we'll see.
From Mark,
wouldn't shock me.
From Mark, does Craig Leopold regret his tweak decree?
I've asked. He hasn't answered he hasn't really given me any indication that he regrets it.
From Alec, who drinks more coffee, Russo or Fenton?
I can promise you it's me.
From Justin Caesar wears pants sometimes. That's his handle. I realize there aren't players we could sell high at the moment. So what is the way forward? Do the Wild even have time to retool for when the savior Kaprizov gets here?
Yeah, that's the other sad thing, is that the pressure that's going to be on this freaking kid when he comes here. Oh my God. We'll worry about that in like 10 years. I don't know. I really do not know. I don't know how you fix this. This is why I've been saying for 2 years, they're making their bed. This is what I meant. They have put themselves. Paul Fenton has inherited a very unenviable position, because you have a bunch of no moves that you can't move. You have a bunch of core guys that have proven over and over again that they haven't been able to perform, and now are sort of untradeable. And you have no prospects. And
is this the oldest team in the NHL?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Went from promising to oldest.
At least
really
during training
fast.
camp. Now maybe things have changed with trades and other tweaks that other organizations have made. But in the analysis that I think James Myrtle did for The Athletic at the beginning of the season, he always does the age, height, the age, size, nationality type of story. The Wild were the oldest.
Justin also asks if Boudreau is safe. Is it too early to start asking that question?
I mean, as of in the middle of the 11 game out of 15 swoon, he was safe. So I would assume he's safe now. It kind of goes to my other theory too. It's like if you're Paul Fenton and you want to show Craig Leopold the team's not good enough, and that needs to be more than tweaks, and that needs to be a bit of a sort of a rebuild here, but not a rebuild, because it's impossible to tear this thing apart. Maybe you just let Bruce kind of go down with the ship, and then you hire your guy going into next year.
Does he have a guy?
I mean, there are two guys in the organization that will be probably the next coach of the Wild. It's just one of the two. Tim Armey's doing a fabulous job down in Iowa, and I know Tommy Curvers loves him, and he's a character. And Dean Evison, who's on the bench right now, who's the guy that Paul Fenton brought in here and didn't renew the contract to John Anderson. Dean was his coach in Milwaukee. I will say that playoff success wise, he's on par with the Wild. The Milwaukee's playoff record under Dean, I'm pretty sure, was like 1-13. So
he fit right in.
Yeah. But, you never know why that happens.
Right.
Nashville usually calls up a lot of good players at the end of the year because they're going on runs and things like that. So,
from Eric Berg, we will wrap up the podcast and head to the arena here shortly. Eric Berg asks, does NHL Ops only use one feed or telecast when reviewing challenges calls? What is it we're all missing about why that offside call was not overturned?
Well, I will say, I'm telling you, I went into the first of all, they do have both feeds. I went into and I have the video, and it was sent to me. It's weird. So Jim Jackson recorded it with his phone. What I was watching in their booth yesterday, and it came to me, and it's completely blurry. I'm looking at it right now. So I was going to tweet this out so everybody can see, but you cannot tell with the way this video is transmitted to me. But the puck is on the blue line. His stick comes off the puck, and Couturier, almost staring at JVR, has the puck now enters the offensive zone. He keeps his stick about 2-3 inches behind the puck. He's watching JVR, and the second JVR tags up, he touches the puck. It was amazing awareness. And the angle, if it was undoctored, this was sent to NBC Philadelphia from the league. If it is exactly on par in terms of seconds, then the second that the video that I saw, he was absolutely onside by a hair. So I think that's what the league saw, and that's what the linesman saw.
Interesting. And I'm going to let Barry Voigt take a shot at us. He said regarding the discussion about guys not targeting injuries, and so should be made public. The injuries should be made public. What about Parise getting slaughtered in the back 50 times a game?
That's his entire life. I mean, if you play in front, you're going to get slaughtered. I mean, I don't think that's because people are saying he's a, he's got the back injury. I think it's him standing in front of the net, and he knock him down.
There are a couple more good questions I really want to get to. From Ty Dalla, could you see Cunnin playing center down the road?
I mean, he was, I can. I don't know if he has the wheels to be a center, but yeah, I could see it.
From Not Mike Greenlay, why don't we hear from Koivu after losses anymore?
Because it's our fault. I mean, he's always in his stall.
Yeah, he's there. He's available.
And it is an interesting dynamic. I always, there got to be part of Mikko that's like, why are you going to stall Parise, blah, 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 when I'm the captain? But, I mean, frankly, I don't go to him a lot of times because I don't – it's kind of like the old Dave Molinari rule where he didn't talk to Tom Barrasso and some of these guys in Pittsburgh because, I am not going to go over to Mikko every single night and have him bite our heads off because he's angry at the questions. He's an intense guy. There's a 5-minute cool-down period in the NHL. Mikko needs about a 30, okay? And I essentially, last year we were in Tampa. It was so vicious the way that he was talking to us that the Wild.com didn't even put the video up because it was going to embarrass him. And finally I got into it with him. Yeah. And he did calm down. But it's just he's fiery after games.
He's also not a good quote.
Yeah, it's like that too. I will say, like, you get him sometimes, even after wins, and you're like, all right, well, there are 50 other quotes that are better,
right? So
you use those instead. And so he's not going to sit there and share why they lost. He's going to be and so I've now I'm not the only beat writer. There are other guys that can go to him too, and Sarah. There's other electronic media that can go to him. They don't need to all follow me around the locker room, but I make it a point sometimes to avoid them. And the last time this happened was we decided to divide and conquer about a month ago, and I went to somebody after a loss, and basically Sarah and I made this deal, like, hey, you know what? What happened was Sarah was under a really tight deadline that night. So she asked me a favor, hey, do you mind if we divide and conquer and maybe like we have a little quotes pool? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. So she's like, I'll take Mikko. I'm like, oh, fabulous. She went over to Mikko. She asked him 2 questions that lasted 40 seconds. I was watching with the corner eye, and I went up to Sarah and said, how was it? And she's like, just, basically it was,
worthless.
Yeah. And again, kind of mean, and so we've just stopped going to him.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying this isn't anything to do with Mikko not being available. It's more on I'll take the hit on it, but to me, it's because he is incapable after a loss of 1, treating us with respect, but 2, being willing to even discuss the loss.
Right.
So that's just and I think anybody that knows me knows that I'm a fan of Mikko, and I respect the heck out of him. But that's why. I mean, I'm not. I've done this for too long, 24 years. And I'm not going to sit there and have to fight with him after a game. You know, it's my decision that I've made, and I'm willing to. If fans think that's bullshit and unprofessional, hey, that's your prerogative, but you're not the one that has to walk into the locker room and have to sit there and walk on eggshells and make sure you don't even say the wrong word that's going to set him off. I
think we'll end on that. Derek Felska asked about whether this team hates each other. Let's save that for a good discussion at Dulono's Pizza, January 29th, 6 o'clock. Thanks again. 28th. 28th, Monday night, 6 p.m. Thank you at Dulono's Pizza. Thanks also to TwillMN.com, FixologyRepair.com, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent. Champlin, again, if you'd like to advertise with us and reach a very large, committed audience, you can reach us at TalkNorthPodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Michael, and good luck. Good luck, everybody. Yep.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Like we all know, I'm not a winner.